Hello, my name is Wayne Pridgett, and today I will be talking to you about poverty. That's why I have on these clothes, holes in it, and as you can see, dirt on my shirt. But this is a very serious topic. Unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, I've been able to see, poverty firsthand. And the reason I say it's unfortunate is because you never want to see someone struggle and not be able to have the basic necessities of life. But the reason I say it's fortunate is because I'm able to tell you about what I've seen with my experiences. I come from a town called Pine Bluff, Arkansas. That's where both sides of my family is from. And this isn't a very prosperous town. There's not a lot of money. There's not a lot of money there. And I still have family that lives there today. And growing up, I've had to see uncles and aunties as well as cousins live in these conditions to where they may not know where they're going to live the next day. They have a job, they're working, but their job isn't giving them an adequate enough amount of money to live a sustainable life. I've seen them go not knowing what they're going to eat the next day. This brings tears to my eyes just having to see this. But the situation is very unfortunate. But this is real life. This is realistic. This is the way America is today. Fortunately, me and my family, we live in Texas, and we're able to live a very comfortable life. Many times we've given back to my family members who aren't as fortunate as us by providing them with clothes or providing them with food or even giving them a place to stay. Sometimes they'll come to Texas and live with us for a month or two just because they don't have the money to pay their rent. And I thank the Lord just for putting us in this position of letting us have this type of luxury of being able to live this way. Because many people, they don't, and many people take the fact of having money for granted when there are plenty of people who are living under these poor conditions. But now that I've talked about this, I'd like to get into my first main topic, which is why poverty is a problem in the U.S. Poverty is a problem in the U.S. because it makes you not economically, socially acceptable. You're not acceptable economically or socially because you can't buy things that most people can buy, and most people aren't going to socialize with someone who doesn't have the adequate or same amount of money as they have. This is just unfortunate, but this is the way that America is. According to Merriam-Webster, poverty is a state of one who lacks a usual or socially acceptable amount of money or material possessions. And this definition is very true. It's very true. Poverty is not just something that's here in the U.S. I'd like to shed the light that poverty is global. It's a global issue. Poverty is happening in 41 countries. All right, let me repeat myself. Poverty is happening in 41 countries. This is a very serious issue. Oh, and the 41 countries, I got this from globalissues.org. This is the website that provided me with that information. As I previously stated, poverty keeps people from having the basic necessities such as food, water, and shelter, in which everyone needs these three basic necessities in order to live. The best example of poverty in the U.S. is the Great Depression of 1929. The Great Depression of 1929 left many people without jobs, left many people deserted, stranded, having to live on the streets, without a job, not knowing what they're going to eat the next day. And there were no homeless shelters at this point in time. The stock market crash in 1929 is what led to the Great Depression. And the reason I'm providing you with this information on the Great Depression is because it's important to know information on the past, our past history, because similar situations may arise in the future. And if we don't know our past and how we dealt with these problems, then the similar situations may occur and we may not be able to solve them. So it's important to know the previous histories and what's happened with the U.S. Now that I've defined poverty and discussed the effects that it has, now I'll talk to you about the barriers that have prevented poverty from being solved. The first barrier that has kept poverty from being solved is the government. The government. According to author Joel Blau, he describes homeless people who suffer from poverty as victims of political and economic forces beyond their control. And I would totally agree with him. I feel like some people believe that poor people, it's their fault that they're poor and that they're lazy, that they haven't tried to do anything with their life. However, me and author Joe Blau, we beg to differ. I feel that it's more of the government's fault that people are in these poor situations and having these financial problems that they have. The government is controlled by mostly wealthy people, rich people. And these people do not want to come up with ways or policies that's gonna take money away from their pockets. They want to have as much money as they can. They're greedy, and they don't want to give back or help anyone out. I also feel that the government does not consider poverty as a serious issue, or the media doesn't consider it a serious issue as well, because if they did, they would talk more about it in the news. But instead, they rather focus on such issues such as celebrities getting married, such as Kim Kardashian. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that Kim Kardashian's wedding is not more important than people starving and having problems finding out where they're going to live or what they're going to drink the next day just to survive. That's not more important. A celebrity's wedding. That's not important. Also, I feel like it's the government's fault that some people are in poverty because certain laws that are made, such as laws that are made on felons. No one's perfect. Everyone deserves a second chance. We are all humans. So these laws they have on felons, that almost make them, when they get out of jail, make them have to go back to jail, because these laws are so strict that when they get out of jail, no one wants to hire them. No one wants to hire them as a worker just because they've been a convicted felon. And once again, as I said before, no one's perfect. People make mistakes. So I feel as if these felons deserve a second chance. Now that I made my second point, I will get into my last point, which is why poverty. I get into my last point, which is the solution on how poverty can be solved. My solution is simple. It's very basic. It's not anything extraordinary. My solution is just for people to give back. People who are employed to give back $2 to give back $2 to my program, to a program that will fund people who are homeless. Just $2. And this will be able to solve the problem, because there are more people employed than there are people who are suffering from poverty. So there'll be extra money. There'll be a surplus of money for these people who are homeless. Poverty is resolvable and it can be solved. The two barriers are government and the economy. And the way I'll solve this is what I just stated. I create a program that requires people to give back $2, and this situation can be solved perfectly fine. Thank you for your time. I'm Wayne Pritchard.